Hey guys, I'm Sam and welcome to my channel. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what are the very first things that you need to do when you get engaged. So number one, enjoy. Just enjoy the moment, soak it in, tell all your friends, post it on Facebook, tell your family, maybe hang out with your family, hang out with your friends. I know now it might be hard because obviously the whole quarantine thing, but even though you might not be able to do exactly what you want, still just enjoy the time, soak it in. Now is going to be the best time ever, aside from obviously the day that you marry your best friend. But now is going to be one of the best times aside from obviously that honeymoon phase. So just enjoy the time. Also, show off your ring. So I don't know if you guys can see, but show off your ring, take pictures, post it on Facebook, and just, again, enjoy the time. So that's first. Now, second, the most important thing is designate a budget. So a budget is super, super, super important because if you don't know your budget, you cannot do pretty much anything else for the wedding planning. Now, when I suggest a budget, it could either be a budget where you say, I think that X amount of money is the best amount of money or the most reasonable amount of money to spend for this wedding. Or you could say that this is the average amount, so I don't want to exceed that average amount. Or it could be a budget based off of the whole entire wedding or individual pieces. You could say, I think that X amount is great for a photographer. Y amount is best for this. And kind of set individual budgets for each thing that you want to do. I've seen a lot of people do that too. So kind of different approaches. However, just make sure that you make a budget. Now to make that budget, I suggest to talk to anyone that is participating in that budget. So if someone is not participating in the budget, I wouldn't give them an opinion on it. So just you and your fiance talk about it. Maybe if your mother-in-law is paying or your mom or dad or someone like that is paying, make sure that they're in on the conversation so you could really have that heart-to-heart and understand how much they're willing to contribute to your special day. Now, once you've set that budget, now you could go ahead and do some of the fun stuff. You could plan your vision. So the very next step is planning your vision. Now, what I mean by planning your vision is make that Pinterest board, join some of the Facebook groups, start understanding what you want. Now, what I mean by what you want is obviously, I know a lot of us since we were little girls started thinking about our wedding day and said, oh, I would like it to be this way or this way. And you kind of have that vision already, but start to identify exactly what it is. Hone in on that. What's the centerpiece looks like? What do the tablecloths look like? What type of dress do you want? What type of venue? Are you looking for more of like a barn or more like a castle-like, or just the general feel of the wedding? Now, originally I wanted to have like this little barn type style wedding, like this rustic barn. However, we'll see later why that didn't work out and why we kind of switched gears, but just getting that general idea is great. Now again, like I said, Facebook groups are also great for that. Typically we just go to Pinterest. However, there's a lot of Facebook groups out there. I think there's ones called like I'm Engaged Now What. So if you just type that in Facebook or wherever you're located, for example, I'm in New Jersey. So I joined a group that just said like New Jersey Brides. I'm sure if you're in any other location, Ohio, Illinois, just type that in and put bride after it, and you'll definitely get a bunch of great resources on Facebook too. So on that note, kind of a tangent, but I definitely suggest that you join those groups because it's awesome, great vibes. It has a lot of other brides too. So it's again that bride to bride interaction, which is awesome. So now once you start planning your budget and then you also plan your vision, the next step is head count. Now the reason that our head count is so important is because you don't want to make the mistake that I did. So the mistake that I did is I went ahead and I started looking at all these barns. I thought I definitely want a barn wedding, and I looked up every single barn in the area. Now, unfortunately, all the barns in the area fit only about 100 to 150 people. I didn't realize that I was going to have more than that. I thought, oh, 150 people, that's plenty of people, plenty of space. However, once we actually sat down and made our head count, I realized it is way above that. We're at about 300 people. So, and we saved the dates to about 300 people. Now, when I say head count, I don't mean your guest list. Save your guest list to later once you're worried about invites, once you're worried about save the dates. But you need to get a rough estimate of how many people you're anticipating. Because even though you think that there's X amount of people that you want to invite, the list grows really quick. Oh, you add someone that you forgot. Oh, your mother-in-law adds someone that they forgot. Your husband or fiance at that point. Everyone's gonna start adding one, and the list grows really, really quick. So make sure that you have that estimated guest list. You don't need to worry about plus ones. I know that's a sticky situation, which we'll get to in another video, but you don't need to worry about all those things right now. Just get an estimated head count. Now, once you have that head count, now you could work on everything else. So the very next thing is venue. Make sure you identify what venue you want. Now, in order for me to pick my venue, I basically just made an Excel sheet. I made the first column just the name of the venue. Then I made the next column the location of the venue, because that was super important for me. I didn't want it to be too far from either my area or where my fiance is from. I wanted it to be somewhere generally in between, or at least close to one area. So I made sure to put the location. Then I put the price. Now you could put the price of per person, because a lot of venues do that. They do a per person price. Or you could just, based off of your estimated head count, you could multiply the per person price by how many people that you're looking to have, and then put that number. Or you put two columns and put both, if that matters to you. Then I also put a pro column and a con. So I put my pros and cons next to each other. I wrote out all the pros and cons, and then I had that all on an Excel sheet. Now, what I did was, after that, once I visited all the venues, and I also suggest definitely visit them because some look deceiving. Some you look at online and obviously they're gonna put the best pictures, they're gonna put the most glamorous things, and then you get there and it's not what you imagined. So I definitely highly suggest to visit them. Again, I know it's hard with everything that's going on now in the world, being able to visit, but I would really, really suggest to go do that, even at some point. So anyways, with that being said, the way that I decided is I obviously visited a bunch of them, but then after that, I put another column off to the side, and I just blindly covered up all the other columns, and I listed out what are my favorites. I put number 1 as my favorite, and then I think I had 50 different venues, and I put 50 as my last. Now, you don't need to go that crazy and look at 50 different venues, but I'm very type A, so I wanted to pick every venue in the area. So I listed them all from 1 to the last number. And then I cross-referenced that and the price, because the price was the most important thing to me. Now, maybe a big dance floor is important for you, or maybe having the best food is important to you. So maybe those would be extra columns that you would insert into your chart. Now, once I did that, I laid everything out and I looked at number 1 and I was like, oh my God, it's the most expensive one on the list. Now, I'm very budget friendly, so I decided to cross that one out. I was like, I don't care if it's my favorite, I'm gonna cross that out. Then I looked at number 2, and my second favorite was one of the cheapest ones. So I was like, it's a no-brainer. Best bang for your buck, so that's the one that we went with. So that just gives you a little bit of idea of how I picked my venue and how I suggest that you guys pick your venue as well. It worked flawlessly. And then, just a quick hint of how I got the fiance on board. What I did was I showed him a really, really cheap venue. I brought him to that, and he was like, oh my God, this is gross, this is nasty. I definitely don't want my venue here. So I said, okay. Then I showed him a really, really expensive one, and I brought him to that. And he was like, oh my God, this is really nice. How much does this cost? And I showed him the price, and he was like, absolutely no. And then I showed him that was really, really beautiful, but still cheaper than the first one, and that's the one that I wanted. And then he said, yep, I like it. It's perfect. It's so much cheaper than the other, but it's so much nicer than the other. So we worked at a happy medium. So that's just a little hint of how I got the venue I wanted. Anyways, our next thing that you want to do is essentially whatever you prioritize. So I prioritize the photography and the DJ. We're really into having good music. We're a Polish Italian family, so we want big music, big, everything. Plus we have 300 people, so you got to entertain 300 people somehow. So that was really important to us. Also, it was really important to get nice photography and videography as well for the day. So we made sure to prioritize those. However, the next things after that are whatever you find important. So if you think those two things are important as well, that would be the next step. If you think florist, you know that you really want to lock that florist in for that date, do that. Same with, hair, church, makeup, all of those things as well. So whatever you think is most important personally next, that's what you want to do. Now, in between there, I know I didn't touch on when you should start thinking of your dress, but it depends. I just started about 6 months in. I used that 6-month time to really just enjoy and hang out, and then somewhere in between that stage of the Pinteresting and the budget and all of that, that's when I started looking at my dress. So, but I do suggest making sure that your budget is out of the way before that, because you really don't want to try on a dress and then fall in love. So that's just a side note about that. Kind of put your dress in that venue, DJ, photography time frame as well. So with that being said, let's just recap the few most important things that you want to do right when you get engaged is 1, enjoy. Scream it at the top of your lungs, get super excited. Again, show off that ring, take tons of pictures, and enjoy the time. Maybe even just take engagement photos. Do something like that, just for fun. Then after that, you want to set a budget. So that's number 2. Number 3 is going to be plan your vision. Get that Pinterest board going. Then your next one is estimated head count. Doesn't have to be your guest list, but needs to be a head count. Then after that, then you want to go and decide what venue you want. And again, I don't know that I mentioned this, but with the venue, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Even if just the venue is your backyard or a park up the street, the venue is just the place that you're going to have your wedding. So it doesn't have to be anything too elaborate. And then after that, once you get your venue, then go ahead and do the photographer, the DJ, and basically anything that you prioritize after that. So hopefully this helped. And again, congratulations if you just got engaged. That's absolutely awesome. So just right now, try and relax a little, and then in a couple months, then let's start the planning. So have a great day, and thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, subscribe. Bye-bye.